Welcome to all of you in the today lectures on the topic wastewater treatment. So what is wastewater treatment? See, we can also say it as municipal wastewater treatment, sewage treatment, or simply wastewater treatment. So it is the process of removing contaminants and pollutants from wastewater to make it safe for disposal or reuse. So the treatment systems are often divided into three parts: the primary, secondary, and tertiary treatment. So we shall discuss one by one what is primary treatment and secondary treatments. So in case of primary treatment, the purpose of primary treatment is to remove the coarse solid materials like pieces of wood, rags, wire, etc. from the incoming raw wastewater. So it is removed by the screens, or its sizes may be reduced by a device called comminutor grinding devices. We can see this is the primary treatment plant. So what is going to happen? The raw wastewater enter into the plant first through the screens, where these woods and the racks or wires are going to be separated. Suppose the sizes are bigger. In that case, we can use the comminutor grinding devices. What is this comminutor? It is a mechanical device that cuts and grinds coarse solids present in wastewater into a small pieces so that they can pass through the treatment plant without causing blockage or damage. So normally we can see here the further after screening it goes to the grid channel. So here what happens normally, inorganic solids such as pebbles, sand, silt, glass, or metal fragments are removed removed in the grid channels with flow velocity is where flow velocity is lowered to settle the grid. The deposited grid is removed by a mechanical scraper from the grid channel. A flow measurement devices are used to measure and monitor the rate and quantity of wastewater coming to the water treatment plant during the primary treatment. So, what is the work of the flow measurement device? It is used to measure and monitor the rate and quantity of wastewater entering and leaving different units of the treatment plants. So these are the units: screens, grid channels, the primary clarifier. These are the units. The flow rate determines how long wastewater stay in each treatment unit, called retention time. So unless retention time is not there, the solid waste which is available in the wastewater will not settle. So retention time or detention time is provided in the primary clarifier, and that's why the flow meters is used to maintain the velocity. So the next is the sedimentation, which is water is allowed to stand in large tanks. This is also called a primary clarifier. Heavier solids settle at the bottom as a sludge, and lighter materials like oil and grease float on the top of this primary clarifier, which are removed. So we can see a typical primary treatment system has been shown in this figure, which removes approximately 1/2 of the suspended solids from the incoming wastewater influent. That is 30% of BOD is nothing but biological oxygen demand or biochemical oxygen demand associated with this solid is removed. So we can see here two words are there. In the diagram also you can see the influent and the effluent. So whatever the raw wastewater is entering to this through the screen, this raw wastewater is called an influent, and after treatment it is called an effluent. So after primary treatment, this treated wastewater goes to the secondary treatment. So now we can see about the secondary treatment. Secondary treatment is a biological process involving oxidation of dissolved organic materials by micro-organisms to decompose the organic compounds. This process is speed up by increasing the amount of oxygen available, which can be done by two possible methods. So we shall discuss the two methods, activated sludge method and the trickling filter. So under the heading secondary treatment, either we can use the activated sludge or the trickling filter method. So let us discuss about the activated sludge diagram and the contents. A sludge containing bacteria and other organisms is mixed with the liquid coming from the primary treatment plant. And the whole mixture is agitated by a paddles which is fixed into the aerator. This process lasts, it is carried out, aeration is carried out. This process is last about 10 hours, after which the mixture flows to the secondary clarifier, that is also sedimentation tanks, where the sludge settles out from the effluent. Secondary treatment, in addition to the primary treatment, removes about 70 to 90% of the biological oxygen demand or biochemical oxygen demand in the sewage. So the effluent is usually sufficiently purified to be discharged into river, lake or the sea. So, and the sea, whatever the sludge is going to be settled at the bottom of the secondary clarifier, it is sent to the sludge treatment plant, right? And the part of the sludge, because why it is called as activated sludge? Because it contains some bacteria. That bacteria helps in the oxidation of the organic matters coming through the primary treatment plant, primary treatment effluent. So we can see here the part of the sludge return to the aerator. Then after the secondary treatment, normally it is sufficient. The secondary treatment is sufficient for the sewage treatment plant. The effluent is to further treatment or to the stream directly. It is sent to the stream, natural stream, and or we can go for the further treatment, means tertiary treatment, if it is required. The next we can see the next secondary treatment method is the trickling filter. The liquid is sprayed slowly on the bed of a beds of a broken stones, actually stones, gravels, coke or plastics, which are provided. Normally, it provides the large surface area for oxidations, and the micro-organisms, mainly bacteria, living within the filter beds, break down the organic matters. It also gets the oxygen from the atmospheres. So the liquid that collects at the base of the filter bed contains some waste products from the filter organisms. These wastes are separated from the effluent in secondary clarifier or secondary sedimentation tanks, producing more sludge. Filter beds need very little supervision but take up a lot of land. So whatever the sludge is going to be generated at the bottom of the secondary clarifier, this sludge is sent to the treatment plant, sludge treatment plant. So we can see here, so these effluents may be further sent to the trickling filter. From here you can see the diagram, and the remaining we can discharge to the stream or natural water bodies. What it says here, that in most of the cases, secondary treatment of the municipal wastewater or the wastewater or sewage wastewater is sufficient to meet the effluent standard prescribed by the pollution control boards. So the tertiary treatment is not needed. Normally, the primary and secondary treatments are provided for the municipal wastewater treatment. But we shall also talk about the tertiary treatments in the next slides. Now we shall talk about the sludge disposals. What is sludge? It is a foul-smelling, thick liquid containing 96% of water, and sewage treatment plants normally have to dispose of vast quantities, because a large plant can produce over 1,000 tons each day. Before final disposal, sludge is stored in a closed tanks, that is sludge thickener, where in the absence of oxygen, anaerobic bacteria further decompose the organic material, producing a relatively inoffensive digested sludge. The anaerobic digestion produce takes place 20 to 30 days at temperature of around 30 degrees centigrade. The gas, methane and carbon dioxide are produced, and the methane can be used as a fuel to heat the tanks or to generate electricity for the treatment works. We can see here this diagram. We have to understand whatever the sludge generated from during the primary treatment or the secondary treatment comes to the sludge thickeners. Then it goes to the first stage digesters, where anaerobic digestion takes place by the anaerobic bacteria. So during digestion, the gases are generated like methane, carbon dioxide, ammonia. And from the first digester, after the first digestions, this, this sludges are sent to the second stage digester. This is also called a mechanical dewatering. Here normally what happens, the sludges are compressed and during compression it forms a cake. That cake is further sent for the disposals. So whatever the water content is there after compression, it is sent to the primary calorifier. So next we can see the further disposal of the sludges. There are three main methods of sludge disposal. Fourth option is also there, that is the dumping at sea, but it is no longer considered acceptable because of the environmental impact and has been banned in many parts of the world, including European Union. So what are the three options of the sludge disposal? The first one is the farmland. Sludge disposal or agriculture land is useful as a fertilizer and soil conditioner, and it is more convenient method of sludge disposal for sewage treatment plants, but not located near the coast. This to be taken care of. So what normally happens, tankers are used to transport the large volume of the sludge to far, and the UK disposes much of its sludge by farmland method only. So whatever the sludge coming after the second stage digester. The second method of sludge disposal is the landfill. Not all sludge is suitable for farmland. For example, sludge containing toxic waste cannot be spread on these fields. Instead, it is dumped in a natural or artificial depression or artificial pits in the ground, where it dries, decomposes slowly, and then it is covered by the soil. The third disposal technique is the incineration. Sludge may be dried or and incinerated, leaving an inert ash. This is often most expensive option. So next method is the tertiary treatment. So we have talked about the primary treatment and the secondary treatment. And third one is the tertiary treatment. Normally in case of municipal wastewater treatment or sewage treatment or the wastewater treatment, the first primary and secondary treatments are sufficient, and the tertiary treatment is the optional. So what it says that primary and secondary treatment remove only 20 to 40% of the phosphorus and nitrogen and about half of the toxic compounds. If it is necessary to reduce the plant nutrients means phosphorus and nutrient or toxic compounds beyond this limit or beyond this level, the tertiary treatment is required. But normally it is very expensive and not commonly used. So in case of tertiary treatment, various methods are used further after the primary and secondary treatment. The first one is the filtration. Here we can use the sand or charcoal or membranes to remove the fine particles coming after the secondary treatment. Then it can be passed to the disinfection. For disinfection, we can use the chlorine, ozone, or ultraviolet light to kill the harmful bacteria and viruses. Nutrient removal, nutrient stripping. That means removes excess, as I told you, they reduce the plant nutrients or the excess nitrogen and phosphorus from the effluent before it is discharged into natural water bodies. So how we can brief the sewage or wastewater treatment? The first one is the primary treatment, which removes solids, large solids and set level matters. In case of secondary treatment, just as we discussed the activated sludge or the trickling filter methods, that is the biological process which removes the organic matter by decompositions. The decomposition takes place by the bacteria. The tertiary treatment, which is the options, which removes the nutrients, fine solids and pathogens, used when very clean effluent is required. But it has been observed that the primary and secondary treatments, after these two treatments only, the effluent is safe for discharge or use, but it cannot be used for the drinking. So in this lecture, we talked about the what is sewage or wastewater treatment, what are the various method of treatments like primary treatment, secondary treatment, and tertiary treatment. As we also discussed the secondary treatments, there are two methods in secondary treatments. The first one is the activated sludge method, and second is the trickling filter methods. How we can dispose the sludge generated from the uh, primary clarifier and secondary clarifier. All these points we discussed in the lecture. Thank you.